Services for Lawrence Yetka will be November 25th at Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Cloquet.
To use a military phrase, there's been a recent change of command here at WDSE, WRPT Public Television. The retirement of our former general manager after 21 years began a nationwide search for the key position. But as good fortune would have it, that new leader was found right here in our own backyard. Patty Mester began her job as general manager at WDSE in August. And welcome, Patty.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your background in media.
Actually, it started pretty early for me. As I was in college, I did an internship in radio, and that really piqued my interest in media. After that, I started working for a commercial radio station on the range, WHLB, and then came down here to Duluth and worked for a radio station here as well. But then I left for Texas and got into the telecommunications business. And on my return to Minnesota, I started working for Minnesota Public Radio. Mm-hmm. So I worked with them for 10 years and have some experience with public media. Mm-hmm. Not television per se, but definitely public media.
Mm-hmm. What was it that kind of drew you to this job here at WDSE, WRPT? What excited you about it?
Well, the visual experience of it, because like I said, I've always been in radio, so the idea to be in the visual medium was exciting to me. More than that, it was to work with the staff here. It's a veteran staff, a very committed staff to excellent programming, and to be a part of that was very exciting to me.
Mm-hmm. You've been here a couple of months now. Have priorities started taking shape as far as, when you look at where you want to take this station?
Sure. It's such a solid foundation. I really want to strengthen the content and the services, the quality of the services, in a way that engages the community in dialogue and conversation in a way that tells us where is it that we need to go. At the same time, I have identified some things in the sense that education has really come to the forefront and become quite obvious that that is a direction that we need to take, as well as be a little bit more engaged in the community in terms of going out. I think we're very engaged internally. I think that we need to be more participative, if you will, in a way that we are not only creating events and content for events, but people know that we're present in the community, as some of our producers and camera people are already doing, but just more so as a coordinated effort.
Speaking of that, you've begun reaching out to the communities that we serve. It's quite a broad region we serve. What kind of feedback have you been getting so far?
Very positive feedback. Like I said, it's such a solid foundation here. People appreciate the programming that we have here because it's educational. It's also entertainment and the quality of it. The three things that people talk about are their kids' programming, because there are a lot of mothers and fathers who are so committed to having their children, when they're in front of the television or in front of their device, they typically will bring up PBS, which is, of course, who we are in partnership with. We also do find that there are a lot of adults who appreciate our PBS and Jim Lair News Hours, and as well as drama. That's the number one type of programming that all ages like to watch is drama. Mm-hmm. And so we do have some pretty quality programming with drama, especially on our Sunday evenings, as you know. So,
You mentioned your passion for education. What role do you see WDSE having in education? Is it beyond educating people in their living room through our programs and getting out into the community and partnering with schools too, or what? Flesh that out a little bit.
Right, well, you said exactly that. I think that, just to share a little bit of my own experience, when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have, I think maybe you can relate to that a little bit.
Yes, we can.
Right, so.
Oh, I can't.
Good for you, Julie. It's one of those things that when we got home from school, we had some of the commercial television, and then we would have PBS. And so PBS was what I grew up with. And but PBS also had, at one time, worked with the public television stations to provide, and as you know, we had televisions within the classrooms at one time, and that was really the main focus, was the education piece. So you know, when kids went to school, there would be a TV monitor in the room, and we would be supplying that curriculum. We don't do that anymore for a number of reasons. And I think that we kind of need to go back to that and find out what it is that the teachers need and work with them, because we do have access to some very quality programming and curriculum that I think would enhance what the teachers are doing here in the schools. In addition to that, I would really like to create some dynamic internships for college students. That's actually one of the priorities as well, because we do have a broadcasting program at Lake Superior College. We also have very strong communication and journalism programs at the other colleges. We're on the campus of University of Minnesota Duluth. St. Scholastica is just down the road, and then we have UWS across the bridge. So there are a lot of opportunities to engage college students with some very meaningful internships where they can get some very practical experience and take that out into the world. And that's something I'm already engaged with some of the colleges in how to do that. So.
You had an opportunity to travel out to the East Coast to meet with other station managers at the PBS headquarters. What did you learn during that trip?
Well, a lot of those public media general managers, presidents, CEOs are having the same experience that we are. They're taking a look at this media landscape and how are we navigating it together. It's a very different way with the internet because there are so many different platforms, devices that people are using, and so how do we get to those end users and those people who are viewing content? And so for us, I think that we again go back to enhancing what we're doing with our current audiences, figuring out what we can do to provide more quality for those who are kind of dabbling and looking at public media. And those audiences that we have not yet reached, how do we do that? How do we reach out to them? And I think that that's incumbent upon us to figure that out. And we will, because there are a lot of people who are underserved or not served with respect to education and quality content. And I think that with the viewing area that we have a lot of opportunity that's untapped.
People watch television so differently today than they used to. You know, it's not where people have to go by the schedule anymore. They can record, they can download.
Right, no
video.
more appointment television.
So how does that change? How does technology change how you manage a public television station like this and how you reach out to people?
Sure. Well, again, it's going back to how do we have more innovative projects, right? So we have to, especially here at our station, I think that we have to engage those social medias far more than we currently are. I think that there are a few people on staff, Karen Sunderman, Steve Ash, who are really working hard toward doing that. Mike Lagarde with Native Report, they're doing a fantastic job. And so I just think that we need to do more of that. One of the things that I don't know if you recall, but blogs used to be the hot, right? That was the way people were saying, oh, have you read so-and-so's blog? And that's what advertisers were gearing toward. The end users were looking at those. And now I think that it's transitioned more into podcasts. And so we are actually having some conversations, Julie Kellner and I are having some conversations about what would be quality content for podcasts and who are, again, the audiences for that, and is it meaningful? Is it the right direction to go?
We have just a little bit over a minute left, but we don't want to let you go without letting you talk a little bit about the big PBS membership drive coming up here in just a week and a half or so. We've got some fun stuff to do, and it's a time of year that's always exciting around here. So
it really is exciting because there's a lot of programming that we air that we don't typically air throughout the year. It's anywhere from the classics like Anne of Green Gables to of course, now this year we have Beatlemania, which you will see some footage that's never been seen before, and we have some interviews with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr that they're really in support of this particular documentary, so that will be exciting. And then we will be engaging a lot of our community members, but it's also, you know, we are so appreciative of our members because it is because of them, our underwriters, our grantors, that we're on the air. It's because of them, and we want to thank them profusely and regularly because it really means a lot for the quality and the content that we offer.
Sounds like you already have your pledge pitch down. hope to see you on the air pledging a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know,
Patty
Julie.
Nestor, thank you so much for coming in. We do have a clip from Beatlemania coming up, so people will get a chance to take a little peek at that, but really appreciate you coming in and visiting with us.
I appreciate the invitation.
All right.
I think it's difficult to underestimate the power of the Beatles' impact on society and culture. And 8 days a week captures really the way they changed the world and the way these four guys from Liverpool took over the world in a world with no social media, where you had to be there to be seen. And they did the hard yards, and they really made people think differently about pop music.
Hi, this is Larry Kane on tour with the Beatles.
The first concert I saw them in was the Cow Palace in Daly City, California. And I watched the young ladies, and I saw their eyes dripping with tears. But the tears were not tears of agony. They were tears because their eyes were wide open. And every one of them thought one of them was singing directly to them. So when Paul was singing All My Loving, they thought he's singing to me. So the actual connection between the person in the audience and the individuals was electric. This is a movie about four really unusual people who changed the world.
It's time now for the business news from our friends at Business North. Husky Energy has closed on its acquisition of the petroleum products refinery in Superior. Most recently owned by Calumet Specialty Products, it was sold to Calgary, Canada-based Husky for $435 million, plus an additional payment for inventories. Husky will retain the existing workforce. The refinery produces asphalt, gasoline, diesel, and heavy fuel oils. The purchase also includes a marine terminal on the Duluth waterfront. Husky will process petroleum from the Bakken Shale Formation in North Dakota and Western Canada.
Sappi North America has made a nearly $6 million investment in its Cloquet mill. The company will replace a head box which spreads the pulp fibers evenly to form the paper sheet. The latest upgrade follows a $170 million outlay back in 2011 to enable the mill to also produce cellulose used in textiles and consumer goods. The diversification, along with investments in renewable energy and waste reduction, has allowed the mill to stay profitable and competitive in a challenging market, according to Sappi.
Shoppers at the Grand Rapids Walmart store will soon have another option for taking home their purchases. The Grand Rapids City Council has approved a conditional use permit for construction of a drive-up canopy. Customers can pick up purchases made online or electronically at the drive-thru. The free pickup program was launched to provide customers with more convenience, Walmart said, but the company does require a $30 minimum order. For more on these and other stories, visit businessnorth.com.
If you have a comment on our show, call now. Dial 218-788-2849 to leave a message. You can also send an email to almanacnorth@wdse.org and visit the WDSE website for updates on our broadcast schedule, the latest on your favorite local shows, and other news here at the station. And Greg, Almanac North is going to be off for the next couple of weeks due to Thanksgiving and then our membership drive, but I imagine that does not mean that you're going to be just off on vacation somewhere. No. Probably a lot going on behind the scenes.
There is with the membership drive. We all get involved there. We also want to mention that we didn't get a chance to mention that December 6th, the same day as the Finnish celebration, there's also the Lutefisk dinner at the First Lutheran Church. So you can go there first and then get dinner at the celebration.
All right, I'll get that one on my calendar. For Greg and the crew here at WDSE, I'm Julie Zenner. We'll see you again December 8th.